All right, guys. So you can see here for some of these reference images, this was a really cool series by this artist right here. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name once again. Some great inspiration to be had here. Lots of different kind of genres as well, which is really cool. We have some kind of Western stuff, some post-apocalyptic stuff, lots of interesting compositions and ideas here. And if we head over to Film Grab here, you can see that we have lots of stills coming out, just right out of the gate here. We have various methods of browsing through here. We have just the main homepage, which already has some stuff kind of picked out for us to look through. We can also browse by artists, directors, cinematographers, production designers, and costume designers, A to Z. You can browse by category and also lots of other options here. So let's go in and browse by category here, and we're going to let's choose genre. And we have a whole list of genres through here. For our scene, we're kind of going for like a war, like a futuristic sci-fi war scene. And we want to establish this war-torn area. So one potential way of approaching this would be we can kind of go and look through maybe some of our war films here. Our Westerns might give us some really good reference as well. This is really giving, the look that we're going for. So we can just save the images, and it allows you to save it as a JPEG, which is really nice. I'm going to find my folder here. We're going to start saving some of these. In terms of the composition, this isn't necessarily going to be what we're going for, but this is definitely going to give us some good reference for what our rubble can look like. So, if we want to have some destroyed looking areas of our scene, this is going to be a great reference for that, as well as the general color and look of what we're going for. 1917 is also a great option. Dunkirk might give us some really good looks for that. So just finding some movies that might give you some good ideas for, interesting compositions or interesting looks. 1917 is going to be a good one here for us because they have some really nice, things like this where we're getting something that is kind of looking like what we want. So looking at something like this here, this is a similar type of shot as what we want to do for our scene. We're going to be kind of on the ground level so that we can empathize and kind of relate to the ground troops. And we're going to be having a ship fly overhead. This can be a great still for getting a feel for the look of the ground and also maybe some ideas for some composition. So we're going to save this image as well. This is going to be a great one as well. And of course this one as well. Let's go over to our Westerns. This is a really interesting look. This could honestly be a type of style to experiment with, for these type of shots. Getting a look kind of like that for our scene in terms of the lighting. Could be an interesting idea. These Westerns are going to be really good for landscape shots, getting an idea of that type of look that you want to go for. Westerns were really well known for their landscapes, and they also heavily used anamorphic lenses, which is going to be what we're going to be using for this shot, because anamorphic lenses are great for capturing landscapes. They actually compress a wider field of view into your camera's sensor or film stock. When that compressed area is then re-stretched out again in post, you actually get a much wider field of view than you would with a normal lens. So if I open this one here, this is going to give us an interesting look. Something like this is a very well-known Western style, framing characters and things through a doorway or an entrance or some sort of opening. And you also get the beautiful landscape in the background. This is a really common Western theme, and it's a great way to draw the audience's attention to a certain part of the frame while also giving some depth and framing the characters, almost making it like an image within the frame, like a frame within a frame. So if I was gathering stills and grabs for a mood board for the entire project, I would definitely grab something like this, and you'd want to be grabbing some more diverse shots for your project depending on what you're doing. If you're doing some interiors, Something like this can be great. You know, you have some light beams coming in, we have some nice soft light coming from the window, and we have an interesting setup here and an interesting camera angle. If you're doing a full-on scene or film, it's a good idea to really look through and grab things that just resonate with the tone and the look that you're interested in making for your scene or your film. A good idea is to find some frames that resonate with you on an emotional level. So frames that create a feeling that you want to invoke in your scene or film. Once again, here we have this nice framed doorway, and it's a Western, very common theme that we see here. The main thing that we want in our scene is to convey, this is an opening shot. So we want to convey chaos, anarchy. This is a war-torn region where, you know, people are desperate, people are running around and trying to avoid, you know, getting killed. So obviously, you know, for this particular scene, the emotion that we're trying to convey here is pretty obvious. It's chaos. It's a war-torn region. We have some explosions going off. We have people running. If your particular scene or what you're doing is a little less obvious, you're going to want to look for some of those frames from various films, and Film Grab is a great place to do that. And I find that a lot of great inspiration can come from things like old films. Like, this is a great shot right here, you know, something that has obviously inspired things since then. Here's another great example, Children of Men. In terms of the lighting, I think, you know, something like this is going to be a good look for us. You know, obviously similar type of situation where we have the war-torn feeling and look. We have this kind of foggy nature to everything. You know, we have Dunkirk here. That could be a really cool look for us, something on fire. Another one of my favorite films in terms of a cinematography standpoint, especially with the Western kind of genre, is There Will Be Blood. You know, some amazing looking landscapes here. Another one, No Country for Old Men. Once again, we kind of going with the Western look and feel here. Very interesting compositions. This is a great look. I love this shot. And of course, you know, we also have Blade Runner. The new Blade Runner especially is going to be a similar kind of look to what we might want to go for here. And, you know, a bit of this kind of futuristic spotlight kind of glowy look with the fog could be a really nice look for us as well. And once again, you know, getting this kind of rocky terrain and the fog going into the distance as well is going to give us a good look as well. So I think that kind of gives us a good basis for creating a mood board and starting to develop a look for our scene. So if we just take a quick look through our photos here, you know, generally we have this kind of overcast, grayish tones and this rocky landscape. And we're getting some fog in the distance, you know, same type of thing here. Maybe getting some interesting reflections off of some water or puddles could be a cool thing to do. You know, we're getting the landscape kind of look, and then kind of getting into the, you know, the rubble, the debris, and the look we want for our buildings. That's going to give us a good starting place and also a good idea of some details that we could add into our scene to make it look more realistic and also fit the look that we want. Let's go ahead and jump over into Unreal, and we can start kind of coming up with the basic blocking of our scene. All right, so I've also grabbed a couple of these really cool concept art paintings. Stuff like this is really cool. I think that having this type of rubble and debris everywhere could be really nice, and also kind of getting this sort of foggy look, and also some of these localized hard light sources mixed with the overcast lighting. So something like this could be really interesting for our lighting for this scene, kind of having this really warm red-ish orange light coming in, you know, these kind of localized patterns, and also having some structures that kind of are looking like this and adding some details, you know, like some of this grass or various things like that to our scene could be really cool. and having our mountains in the background. So something like this can really help us construct our color palette, as well as getting some ideas for adding some detail and visual interest to our scene.